Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adi and today I have another Series 10 team report and another special guest to share it with. I have Marcus. Marcus, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Had a really nice day. How about you?
I'm doing well. Just got off work and really feeling it. I'm excited because Series 10 is really starting to I think become interesting. We've seen after that like initial stretch where we saw every team running in War, Rillaboom, the kind of the same teams over and over again. Format is really starting to diversify a little bit. We saw some cool teams in the Victory Road Open, and of course, yours was one of the coolest. You got all the way to top 8. But first, I guess, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. My name is Marcus. I'm a German player. Started playing VGC in 2017. However, I didn't play big tournaments before like 2019. I did play some locals and tournaments around my area, but I didn't play regionals before 2019. Didn't cut back then. Always barely missed. And then with the introduction of Sword and Shield, I took the game a little bit more serious, advanced in like the top 12 in the Players Cup 1 regional qualifier, and made it global finals in the Players Cup 2. And then Players Cup 4, I qualified, but I didn't play the actual tournament because I didn't enjoy Series 9 at all, and took a break and came back for Series 10.
Yeah, and I gotta ask, when you were playing back in like 2019, what was your team of choice?
I did play Groudon quite a bit. I like Groudon. I liked it even in Sun series with
Mhm.
no Z-moves or anything because I like to play really bulky and position based. I played Groudon Yveltal a lot, and occasionally a little bit of Kyogre. In the Cologne regional, I actually played Groudon Ho-Oh with Sunny Day Ludicolo. That was really fire.
Yeah, that sounds fun. But it sounds like you changed it up quite a bit going into Series 10 because you had this really spicy Kyogre team. Do you want to talk me through the team building process and how you built this team?
Yeah, sure. Starting to build for Series 10, I actually went with Eternatus as my restrictive choice before, because like every team has Incineroar, every team has Rillaboom or Arena, most teams have Rich Eleki, and a lot of teams have Zacian, so I think Eternatus is really good against all of them. However, I didn't find a way, like a team that I felt very confident with Eternatus, but I like the typing, so I was like, okay, maybe I could try Naganadel and something else. And then I looked at the restricted that were good, like Zacian, Calyrex Shadow Rider, and Kyogre. However, I don't like Shadow Rider because like the mirror is just so shaky. You rely on speed ties, on 50-50 wildcard calls. I don't like that. And Zacian, I felt like is so dominant that people are so prepared for it, and I don't like to play that kind of game. So I built with Kyogre. I played it in 2019 a lot as well, so I felt confident with it. However, like if you see at the item, I don't run the typical choice scarf because I don't like to be locked with my Kyogre. I played choice scarf Kyogre in 19 a little bit, but I never liked it. And yeah, Mystic Water is my item of choice. Back then, I played it really bulky, but with the introduction of Reggie Aleki, you're kind of forced to play it really fast in a way, because like you need basically Timid to outspeed it. You can't afford Reggie Aleki to outspeed your Kyogre. And then I felt like give it Mystic Water to boost the damage just a little bit more. With Mystic Water, you actually Oko Zacian and Calyrex Shadow Rider if they don't run a lot of bulk, like the typical 4 HP. It's just a clean Oko. And then I just opted for outspeeding Zacian at -1. In the tournament, I forgot that Calyrex is 1 point faster, so my Kyogre actually speed tied with -1 Calyrex, which came into play, but I won the set in the end. I fixed that in the actual winter code, Kyogre's max speed over there. Because the bulk doesn't really give you anything. Like with this amount of bulk, Eternatus cannot hurt KO you, which is kind of cool. However, with 4 HP, it's still a roll heavily in your favor, so I think it's better to go max speed over Kyogre. So, like, Tornadus was the other member, I think like Tornadus, Kyogre, Zarina, Regieleki, Incin is the core that everyone agrees with. However, most people have like Protect on the Tornadus, but I felt like in the mirror match, and especially versus like Calyrex Shadow Rider teams or teams with like speed control with Tailwind on their own, I'm in a back pace because my Kyogre is not Choice Scarf. So I felt like Icy Wind is way better for me than Protect because like Zarina can like protect me from fake outs anyway. So I felt like Iceman is way better, and it was really, really good in the tournament. I won so many sets with the heavy speed control on the team. You could actually drop Taunt, I think. Like in the tournament, I felt kind of forced to bring the arena a lot to protect me from like fake out Regieleki leads, and I didn't click Taunt all that much. So you could definitely change Taunt to protect, but I think Tailwind, Hurricane, and Icy Wind are necessary. And Focus Sash was my item of choice because like I don't like to be one hit KO'd by Regieleki. This gives me a choice to, if I play versus Regieleki, I can go for Icy Wind and attack and delay my Tailwind actually. This is also really good in the mirror match, by the way. Like Icy winning turn 1 and trying to KO the Tornadus and then delay your Tailwind by 1 or 2 turns is really key. Zarina, I opted for Assault Vest because like I want to take hits from Eternatus especially. Like without Assault Vest, you don't take a Sludge Bomb. This Zarina takes like 80% from it at max, so it's really fine. I opted for max HP because it's its lowest stat, and originally I had 156 attack because I wanted to do as much damage as possible, but I realized I kind of needed a little bit more speed. Like I speeded with a lot of Booms, and I didn't outspeed Zacian and Tailwind, and that felt really, really bad at sometimes. And then I did some Kikes, and with 67 attack, I still get the extra point, and I still Oko Kyogre, I still Oko Regieleki, I KO Mienshao with 93% with a Power Whip, and like I don't get any better rolls versus like Rillaboom or Tornadus with more attacks. So I felt like, okay, 67 is okay, and you can invest more into speed. This spread is not optimized. It's only outspeeding like Zacian in Tailwind. In the rental code, I put a little bit from the special defense into speed, so I outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider in Tailwind as well. And for the last move, I opted for low sweep. Some people play like Seed Bomb or Payback, but I felt like having more speed control is better than less, especially with non-scarf Kyogre. And low sweep was really, really good in the mirror match. Like it was so, so good. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I know that like most people run, I think, high jump kick just to hit Incineroar harder, but you have a Kyogre on the team, so you don't really. I guess like most arena teams have Kyogre on them, but like low sweep's a really interesting choice, and especially on this team, you have so like the Sash Tornadus means you probably get Tailwind up a second time or an Icy Wind off at least. Regieleki, Serena, you have so many different ways of trying to maintain speed control, and that just all allows your Kyogre to be a little bulkier and hit a lot harder.
Exactly. Like high jump kick, I thought about a little bit, but like I already have Power Whip, I already have Triple Axel, and I don't want to run all the shaky moves. Like it's so unreliable. Normally I run like an item to increase the like a white lens, but you need the Assault Vest and you need Power Whip to get the KOs. Like Seed Bomb or Grass Glide, which some people play, is not strong enough for KOing Kyogre and Regieleki. And it's better to get the KO 85% of the time than no time. So I think that's necessary. The next pick, like Incineroar, is pretty self-explanatory. My spread is like I want to take hits from Mienshao as good as I can. I didn't worry too much about Xerneas and Calyrex Shadow Rider. Like I take the hits from Shadow Rider good enough already. And for Xerneas, I have Taunt, I have speed control all over the place, and I have Naganadel. So Xerneas was not that much of a problem. Originally, I had Snarl on Incineroar. However, like I felt like having Darkest Lariat to have the chance to Oko Calyrex Shadow Rider, even at -1, it's a clear Oko with Darkest Lariat, felt so much better. Like pressuring at turn 1 with the KO, saying like you have to switch out or protect or something, frees up Incineroar a lot. And yeah, you can't go any higher with the speed. Regieleki, I opted for Life Orb. Some people run Magnet, but I feel like there's no point to run Magnet. Regieleki is so frail anyways. Why not give it 10% more damage? Especially with Thunder, it's so significant. It was a really, really good sweeper. Some people I talk to feel like Regieleki is kind of bad without a sash, but I feel like if you play it correctly, it's a really good mon, especially in the end game. If you set a Tailwind, like your opponent can't do anything. You KO so many restricteds with it as well. Like Thunder is so strong in the rain, and Volt Switch Electrop is pretty self-explanatory, I think. And yeah, the spicy pick is Naganadel. At first, I had like Lander's Eye, Shedinja, or Nihilego on it, and they felt pretty well. But I was like, man, I want something better. Like Landorus felt the best from all of them because it's good versus Eternatus, but it's kind of weak to Willaboom. I already have life up on Eleki, and it's not good enough versus Zern. It's fine, but it's not great, especially with like versus Volcarona or Amoonguss Zern. It's not doing that much because if you want safety goggles, like Landorus kind of does too little damage with such one because it's not stab. So I felt like Naganadel would be the perfect mon for it. Oko's Eternatus has really good speed, can threaten Xerneas, and you already, with Flamethrower, you also have answer to Shedinja, which the team kind of struggles with otherwise, because you can't bring Incineroar versus Shedinja Kyogre, and if they get rid of Tornadus, you're kind of screwed. So Naganadel is really good. It's also another answer to Ferrophone in case someone wants it. And the spread is for Xerneas. Like you live timid, neutral, 252 Moonblast 93% of the time. That's really good. I won Modest because with 252 Modest, you actually outrun me and Shao by 1 point, and you get the special attack boost from Beast Boost, which is kind of significant because, like, if you Draco Meteor something, you're only at -1 and you still can do damage with it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that the Naganadel pick is so cool, especially with the safety goggles, because if you, especially like I think if you look at the standard Xerneas compositions where they're very reliant on Rillaboom and Incineroar to be able to set it up, or Volcarona to be able to set it up, and Naganadel, especially with Serena next to it, just ignores all of those Pokemon. It's like insane. You just it looks like that's just the freest matchup because of that goggles Naganadel. So I think if nothing else, that's the pick. What matchups did you normally bring Naganadel to?
Xerneas, and I mean, if they have indeed female, it's kind of difficult because you can redirect Naganadel. I bring it to the mirror if they have Shedinja, or if the Kyogre doesn't have Ice Beam, for example. Like if it has Thunder, it can't Oko you. And I sometimes bring it versus, like, occasionally I bring it versus Zacian teams. If Zacian is pretty much the only way to deal with Naganadel, it's also kind of great. And I bring it versus Eternatus team because it's my best way to hit the Eternatus if I can maintain speed control.
Yeah. Makes sense. And again, like I said earlier, you have so many ways to maintain speed control. I think it especially seems cool with the Regieleki too, because of those powerful Electrobes you're going to be firing off with the Life Orb. It just makes it so much easier to pick up those Beast Boosts. And at some point, you don't even need your Kyogre because you're just going to start keeping speed control with Naganadel and Eleki, or keeping speed control with the Eleki and then taking KOs with Naganadel. That seems like a really powerful secondary mode if your Kyogre isn't able to be positioned perfectly.
Yeah, and they are really good in the end game. Like Naganadel and Regieleki can clean up so good. Like it's crazy how strong they can be. It's kind of frail, but that's fine.
Yeah, and you know the frail Pokemon in this format. I guess obviously you don't want to get outsped by things like Zacian, things like Caloric Shadow Rider that you need all that speed control for. But a lot of the other ways people deal with frail Pokemon is that Grassy Glide from Rillaboom, priority moves, as well as like Fake Out, just chipping it and then taking it out with whatever they have. And of course, Serena really ties the team together, allows you to run Pokemon like Regieleki without the Focus Sash, Pokemon like Naganadel, and you really use them to their full potential. So this is a core around the Kyogre is really cool. I like this construction a lot.
Yeah, Serena was the goat of the tournament. Like some people have Rillaboom, but I can't understand it. Every team I played against had a Rillaboom, and if they don't have Woodhammer, like I don't care about it. Like you can't do anything versus my Kyogre versus my Reg Eleki as long as I have Serena saved on the field. You can't do anything. I can just ignore your Rillaboom, KO everything around it, and then have Naganadel, Tornadus, Serena, or Incineroar to counter your Rillaboom in the end game. If they have Woodhammer, I have to play a little bit more around it. However, like triple X into U-turn or triple X into anything, U-turn into anything, most times KOs the Rillaboom. So that's really, really key. Especially since my Serena outsped most Willabooms since I run my Serena pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you mentioned a couple EV spreads that you wanted to change, and you changed in the rental code after the tournament. Uh, were there any other changes or things you would consider changing to the team moving forward?
Not really. Like I have something in mind, but I don't want to reveal everything because I might play this team in the World Cup. Actually, I'm not down on that completely, but maybe I change something in the future depending on how the metagame develops. But for now, the updated version in the rental code is, I think, the best version.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're still a few days away from Series 10 even officially starting, right? So we have
Yeah,
a lot of
crazy.
metagame development to go. um, but yeah, so I think that all the choices make a lot of sense. Do you want to talk me through some of the matchups you faced and how you approach them?
Yeah, sure. Like I faced a lot of Calyrex. Round one, I faced Calyrex Shadow Rider, Tornadus, Weezing stuff, and on paper this looks oh no, he didn't have Tornadus. Okay, but on paper this looks kinda difficult. You may seem because you have like Weezing to basically turn off all my abilities. So I was like, I can't really lead my standard stuff. I can't really lead Tornadus Kyogre or something like that because that gets crushed by Reg Eleki. So I was like, okay, you don't have White Guard and everything is super free. So if I can bring a Kyogre into a good spot, it's just sweeping you. You can't do anything because you don't have Tailwind. And if I'm in Tailwind, I outspeed everything. So I let Tornadus Eleki to counter Eleki Weezing because yes, you can Electro Web and outspeed my Tornadus, but my Reg Eleki will still outspeed you at -1, can Electro Web as well, and then I get my Tailwind basically turn 1, and then Kyogre can just come in and sweep you. I had Instant in the back as well, just to have a little bit more safety versus Calyrex Shadow Biter, but that was really easy. I won 4-0 and 3-0. And game 2, like round 2 was a little bit more shaky because he has Tornadus. It's tougher to maintain speed control, but overall the game plan is the same. Get rid of the White Guard user and maintain speed control for Kyogre, and Kyogre will just one-shot everything on the team. Yeah, so this is basically the matchup versus Shadow Rider. You try to position your Kyogre into an end game where there's no Mian Shao, there's no way you get outsped, and you just click Water Sport. And normally, because the team has so many speed control options, that's pretty easy. Zacian teams, I felt like were really positive because Zacian can't do that much damage to Kyogre. Like even Sacred Sword doesn't do that much, especially if I intimidate you. And if I outspeed you and you get hit by Water Sport, you're pretty much useless after that. And even in endgame, I've scored for you. And Wedge Aleki and Rain can clean up Zacian pretty easily. So normally I kinda ignore, like I'm not ignoring it completely, but I try to eliminate the frailer Pokemon before Zacian in general. Yeah, that's the Zacian matchup overall. Like Zacian is pretty standard. Like most of them have Rillaboom, Incineroar, Rich Eleki, and all of them are really weak to Naganadel. So if you bring Naganadel and can eliminate the Zacian, Naganadel just kind of wins. And if you don't bring it, then just eliminate the Kyogre answers, and Kyogre will just win. That's their general game plan. What I want to talk about specifically, like hard matchups, are stuff that Kyogre can't really beat. Like opposing Kyogres can be really tough, especially if they are faster than my Kyogre, or like Eternatus stuff is really not good for Kyogre. I didn't face Palkia, but I felt Palkia would be way better than Eternatus to face. Eternatus was a nightmare.
Yeah, and there were like I think 4 Eternatus in top cut. It was a pretty common sight. So, like obviously Palkia was the team that ended up winning the tournament, got top 8, but there were a few Eternatus, and I guess those are almost direct responses to how dominant Kyogre has been in the metagame, because those are supposed to have very good matchups into that Pokemon specifically.
Yeah. I think Kyogre got eliminated really, really quick. I was the only TornOgre player on top 8, actually. I was surprised by that, but it's kind of understandable with Palkia and Eternatus running around. Speaking of Eternatus, 1-4, I faced my nightmare. Like, I saw this team and I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Yes, like Eternatus on its own is kind of fine because I have Naganadel, but the problem is, since I'm modest, Eternatus most likely will outspeed me. Like, even if I want Timid, it can outspeed me, but most Eternatus like up to 2 or 3 points faster than me and Shao, but I'm only 1 point faster. So in general, that's not a problem because I have Tailwind and a lot of speed control. But he has Suicune with Tailwind and Icy Wind. And I can't get rid of Suicune that fast because my best way to hit it is Serena or Regieleki. But you guessed it, Eternatus does really, really well into them. And he has pretty much 4 switch-ins for Serena and 3 switch-ins for Regieleki. So it's kind of difficult to get rid of the Suicune. And if it's an endgame with Suicune on the field and Eternatus is still in the back, I can't do anything. Like, if he has Tailwind up and I have Tailwind up, Eternatus just doesn't care about you, especially with Protect. He can play mind games. I'm pretty much forced to Draco Meteor him every single time because I can't afford Eternatus to KO my Naganadel. But he can just protect Icy Wind and then I could be screwed. Like game 1, I think let me look at my notes real quick. Yeah, late game 1, I just led Tornadus Naganadel and had Ogre Serena on the back. He led Eternatus Coco and just let me Draco Meteor his Eternatus because I think he was like, I am gonna live it, but he didn't. And he just forfeited after that turn because without Eternatus he can't win. And that was really, really funny. But I was like, there's no way he would do that once again. So I was like, now the real fight begins. And game 2 and game 3 just let native Suicune had Volcarona Willaboom in the back. And I still brought Tornadus Naganadel in the lead, Ogre Serena in the back, and tried to maintain speed control as good as I can. But since Suicune is way bulkier than Tornadus, it was easier for him to get rid of Tornadus and maintain speed control than it was for me. And I also had to try to eliminate the Willaboom because it's also checked to Kyogre if I can't let Serena stay alive and stuff like that. And also like the Struggle Bug and the Snarl was so annoying because at -1 Naganadel won't KO anything anymore. And this was just a nightmare. Especially like even if I Draco Meteor and he doesn't protect, he can just switch out Eternatus, and then I stuck at -2 or -3 or something like that, and he can just bring it back on the field once again, and I have to switch out because I don't do any damage, and I can't switch anything into this Naganadel. It is so scary. Yeah, even the Volcarona is kind of scary if he can get rid of Kyogre. I don't have a good way to deal with it. So these 4 are really, really scary, and he just won the set overall. It was really close. Like Suicune and Willaboom survived by I think 1 or 2 HP in both games. So if I get the KO, I could win. But in the end, it wasn't possible for me. So I got my only loss in Swiss runs. But I felt good about it because like it's basically a counter team, and I still did really, really well into it.
Right. And that's one of those things where that's one of the tougher parts about having only 1 restricted as compared to 2 restricted like we had in past generations, where if you only have 1 restricted and your restricted has a bad matchup into their restricted, it is so much harder to play the game. You have to just rely on your supplementary Pokemon, and those have to be like very, very good into their Pokemon because of the like difference in power level. And so Kyogre is so good because it does very well into Shadow Rider, into Zacian, reasonably well into Xerneas, like all the other common Pokemon. But when sometimes you face an Eternatus or you face like a Palkia and you're like, oh man, this is really tough. And because those Pokemon aren't as common in the metagame, you don't necessarily build your team to beat them. But if Eternatus and Palkia keep continuing to grow in usage, I guess we might have to consider how to change, how to adapt our teams to consider them more strongly.
Yeah, sure. Like, I think in Series 8 it was a little bit better with one restricted because you still had Dynamax. You could have a really powerful G-Max mon to kinda beat the restricted, but in Series 10 it's tougher. Like the restricted is way stronger than a normal Pokemon, and without Dynamax it's tougher to get the gap and outplay your opponent, and you basically play from behind the whole time. I personally like GS Cup a little bit more, but we have to play with the rule set, and obviously I can't complain too much. The tournament went really well.
Hmm.
One one set I find pretty funny was like the mirror match. Always like you see in round 7, I played my German guy Levi, and in top 32 I played also TornOgre guy. However, like with Naganadel, I feel like this matchup is kind of favorable because it does so good into all what TornOgre does. Um, Especially top 32. Like I practiced this matchup before. Like I knew that I had to face him right after Swiss round, and I was like, okay, you have Shedinja, and Shedinja's always scary. I have to respect Shedinja, and I practiced with my German buddies, and I really soon realized, okay, Kyogre is not good into this matchup because it doesn't do anything with the Shedinja. His Kyogre has Thunder, so it beats my Kyogre. He has Arena and he has Regieleki. So Kyogre only is good into Tornadus and Incineroar, and he won't bring Incineroar. So I decided, okay, I play the set without my restricted. I lead Eleki the Arena all the time and have Tornadus Naganadel in the back. Because this way I have basically my speed control option in game 1. And like I can just nuke your Tornadus because you're not focus sash, and threaten Kyogre in case you lead Tornadus Kyogre, which I think in the best of in game 1 you actually could do. And then have my Tornadus Naganadel in the back to basically deal with Shedinja in case you bring it in the back. I brought Serena mainly because Shedinja can't do much on the field with Serena's on the field. Like in practice, Tornadus was not a threat to Shedinja if I didn't bring Serena because he can just put me on my focus sash and then Shadow Sneak me down. So I had to bring Serena. And actually, like in game 3, I kind of adjusted because I lost game 1 due to a power whip miss on Regieleki, which really sucked because I felt like my game plan was really fine. But that's part of the arena. It sometimes sucked. Like he always let Torn the arena and had Eleki Ogre in the back, all 3 games. And game 2, my game plan went really well. Like I didn't get the miss and I just won 2-0. And my only fear was, okay, maybe he brings Incineroar now because he realized, okay, I don't bring Kyogre. And if I don't bring Kyogre, Incineroar is actually kind of tough to deal with for me. So we have always this little mind game. And I was really considering, do I bring Kyogre to game 3? But I kind of felt like, what do you drop really? Like, do you drop Zarina? No, you don't. Do you drop Tornadus? No, he won't drop Tornadus. He needs Tornadus. And Kyogre was so good for him that I couldn't imagine him not bringing Kyogre. But if he doesn't bring Regieleki and brings Incineroar instead, like, he's not maintaining speed control. So I was like, okay, it's super unlikely that he won't bring Incineroar. So I bring the same 4. But I changed my lead up. I lead Tornadus Regieleki this time in case you lead Tornadus Eleki as well. So I can just elect to wrap Icy Wind, get rid of your speed control, and then delay my Tailwind by 1 turn and win on that. He didn't do that, but I always just targeted down his Tornadus and tried to maintain speed control this way, and just won with Naganadel in the end. Like because his team can't really deal with Naganadel if you look at his team.
Naganadel is basically your second restricted.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Like it's super frail. Kyogre can still 2-hit KO it, and Tornadus actually can OQ you with Life Orb Hurricane, but in return you just do so much damage to all of the team. It's such a free one. And without Naganadel, I think Shedinja would have been my nightmare because, like, imagine I had Landorus. Then I have only Incineroar, Landorus, and Tornadus for it, but you can't bring Tornadus and Incineroar into Kyogre. And with only Tornadus, it's super easy to beat it down, and I would have lost without Naganadel. And I don't know why people don't run Naganadel on TornOgre. It's so good.
I mean, hey, I mean, after this video, they might,
Sure, I would be really happy about that. Everyone I talked to was like, yeah, that's a really good call, and it's really smart. We practice it with it, and everyone I gave the team was like, yeah, that's probably the best sixth mon. And I was just hoping that people wouldn't realize it before the tournament, and Naganadel could go down, and it did do really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you mentioned, not only is it so good into Kyogre, it's so good into the Xerneas teams, but also Palkia picked up in usage, Eternatus picked up in usage, and it's a lot better than a lot of the other choices that you could run into those Pokemon as well. So again, definitely such a cool choice, and probably the best Kyogre team that I've seen so far. Granted, we are still 4 days before the metagame is actually started, but so far.
Yeah. That's so crazy. Like no one really plays Series 9 anymore, and yeah, it's so cool that we get to play these tournaments right before the season actually starts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then top 16. Like I knew that Luigi had to play Davidness, and what I didn't know was that Davidness, as far as I know, actually, like after the tournament, I saw that Davidness also played Eternatus, and my only hope was, please Davidness beat Luigi, because I don't want to face the stupid Eternatus team once again. But Luigi won, and I saw this and was like, guys, I guess my run is over. Like I was actually I was in the call with my buddies and said, guys, look at this team. What am I supposed to do? I like, do I not bring Kyogre once again, because Kyogre felt kind of bad into this matchup? But like, I played Reggie Aleki in the lead with something else, and was like, okay, maybe I nuke this Rikun, but like Eternatus then can just Meteor Beam me and then Oko everything, so this won't work. We did try a lot of things. Basically every lead combination. I brought every mon in wild practice, but nothing really works. And then my German buddy Feis was like, why don't you lead like Reggie Aleki Kyogre and just Volt Switch Water Sport? Like Volt Switch won't KO this Recon, Thunder would, but I don't want to Thunder because then they could Oko Reggie Aleki. And it's super likely that they switch out Suicune anyways and target on the Reggie Aleki. So Kyogre is kind of free to do what it wants. So Water Sport won't get weakened, and Volt Switch plus Water Sport would KO the Suicune, and Kyogre outspeeds it. And if he switches this out into like Volcarona or Willaboom, Volcarona just drops and Willaboom takes like 70-80%, and I can bring in something to deal with it by Volt Switching. I did that and won game one super cleanly, 3-0 by that. Just basically chipping down Naganadel one after another. Like Water Sport still does like 30 to 40% to Eternatus, and yes, it has Grassitarian Recovery and Protect, but it can only recover a little bit. And if you just chip it down over time, you don't need Naganadel for it. Like I basically only brought Tornadus, about Ogre Ileki in the lead, and had Tornadus, Zarina in the back. I need to bring Zarina because of the Willaboom, and it actually also can do like 75% if I had three triple axles versus Eternatus, and it's my second way to deal with Suicune in case he decides to keep Suicune a little bit more safe. And Tornadus I have to bring because of speed control. And yeah, I was like, well, if he maintains speed control, Naganadel is basically useless because it gets outsped by Eternatus. So yeah, this was the better call. Like without Kyogre, I was way too weak to Volcarona. So I thought, or we thought, dropping Naganadel would be the call. And yeah, game one it was really clean. Game two was a little bit shaky. Game two was really shaky because it ended up with Kyogre versus Willaboom, 2 turns of terrain, and I was like, okay, I need to stall out this terrain. I need to get a double protect, and he was max HP, like his Willaboom was full life. I was like, I need to double protect, stall out the terrain, and get the Ice Beam freeze. And I got it. I got it.
Wow.
And won the set by that. And I was like, yeah, this is really, really lucky. But after getting 8-1 in Swiss and playing this guy in top 16 once again after this well won, I was like, I kind of deserve it. Let's be real. Like facing the counter matchup so early in Top Cut after such a great Swiss round, I felt like I deserved this luck, honestly. And yeah, for him it was absolutely bullshit, but that's the game sometimes. Sometimes you are unlucky, sometimes you're lucky, and this weekend I was kind of lucky.
I mean, that's just insane. That's the craziest way to win a top 16 set. Oh man. And I mean, hey, like, yeah, like you said, it's the counter. This is the counter team. Sometimes you need to get you outplayed them game one, right? Like sometimes you got to get a little bit lucky in just one of the games, and that's what you got. So
yeah. I mean, in this matchup, I have to be a little bit lucky to win it and outplay him.
Yeah, that sounds so stressful. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, I was really sad that I didn't record or stream it after that, but I really wanted to like focus as good as I can on the sets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, top 8. I had to play another girl of my German Discord, and actually, out of all top 8 teams, this was the only one I knew I have no matchup. Like every single one of the other teams, I felt I would have a really good matchup, and probably could beat it on paper. But this, I saw this team and was like, I have no way to beat this, because like I can't lead Tornadus, and if I lead Tornadus, I have to lead Zarina, because he could just taunt me because Whimsicott is faster. But like even if I lead Tornadus, Tornadus Zarina and get my Tailwind up, like turn 2, Calyrex just gets a double KO and I'm screwed because it will outspeed me, and I'm just screwed because you also have Cotton Spore. So even Regieleki wouldn't help me. And I can't really do that much with Incineroar because you have Nihilego and Urshifu with Mystic Water even. I mean, my Incineroar lives the Mystic Water boosted Urshifu, but it still doesn't appreciate it. And yeah, this was just a complete nightmare. Like game 1, I led, I think, Tornadus Incineroar. So yeah, I led Tornadus Incineroar. Fact out, the Whimsicott was like either I feared out or I get the Snarl off, and not the Snarl, an Icy Wind. Like I faked out Icy Winded to maintain speed control, basically saying turn 2 you either not in the field or you are slower than me, so you can't deny my Tailwind. And he switched out into Nihilego, or she switched out into Nihilego and substituted. And I was pretty fine by that, but I missed the Icy Wind on Kali with Shadow Rider. And so turn 2, I couldn't break the substitute with the second Icy Wind, and basically Nihilego plus Shadow Rider just swept me from there. I couldn't do anything. Like she just Meteor Beamed for the KO and freely Astral Barrage, and I couldn't break through this. And yeah, game 2, she adjusted. Like I basically have to call the lead completely right to have a chance. Like I have to get a great lead to kind of try to steamroll. If she gets the lead advantage with this team, she will just roll me over like in game 1. But she led, I think, Urshifu, Whimsicott or something like that, and Urshifu just did so much damage. I didn't lead the arena, so I didn't have a great way to punish the Urshifu. I think I led Regieleki. Yeah, I lead Regieleki Kyogre because I what did I thought? I wanted to counter something specific. I think Nihilego Calyrex Shadow Rider. I think I wanted to cover for that. So I could just Electro Water Sport, but she just Tailwinded and Searching Strike Regieleki for the KO. I had Tornadus and Incineroar on the back, so I couldn't really bring in Tornadus because I would just get taunted, and Incineroar would just drop to Urshifu, so it was another clear 4-0. No, it was a 3-0 for her. I couldn't break through like double speed control, taunt from Sikot, and multiple Incineroar counters. So this team was just no matchup for me. So this is something you maybe have to change. Like I maybe have to change something about the team to deal with this archetype if it gets popular.
Yeah, and this is also, I think, there were a bunch of Caloric Shadow in Top Cut. This is the one that got all the way to second place. I thought this team was really cool. I like that it allows you to play a little more defensively with Rillaboom and Incineroar. I mean, I really love this team as someone who has been like testing out Caloric Shadow. This is kind of the direction that I think I would like to go moving on in the future. But you know, that's the thing. Like it's still really early in the metagame. We're still kind of establishing these archetypes, and sometimes I think Yuki was just ahead of the metagame with how she built her team, because this is really solid and really tough to beat. And I think everyone had a really difficult time playing against this team.
Yeah, sure. This team is amazing. Like I even like having Astral Rush and Shadow Ball saying I don't need any coverage because there are not a lot of normal types in the metagame right now, and the dark types are basically Incineroar, and she has a lot of ways to deal with Incineroar. This is really smart. I think this is really the best Shadow Rider team. I'm kind of upset that I had to face her in top 8 because, as I said, every single other matchup I felt really confident with. So I would have liked to face her in the finals. So we would have a German final, or not face her at all. But sometimes the tournaments end like this. I'm not too sad about this because there was nothing I could have done. So there's no way for me to feel bad about it. But I'm still a little bit sad because I could have went all the way to runner-up or even taking the tournament if the schedule would have been a little bit different. But yeah, that's the game.
Yeah, and that's the way it goes, you know. But top 8 is still a really impressive performance. We had like 400 players playing, I think, like over 400. It was a massive tournament. So again, congratulations on your finish. Did you have any final words or shoutouts that you wanted to give?
Yeah, shoutouts to my German World Cup buddies, Kamikaze, Faiz, and Darky for helping me with top 32 and top 16 practice right before the match. And to everyone like trying this team, feel free to reach out to me via YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, or via Twitter, and let me know your thoughts about the team. I will read the comments on this video as well and probably answer because I want to develop this team as much as possible. I really like the core, and I feel like Kyogre, Tornadus, like it's always dominant in early season, kind of drops in late season, but I feel like if you can build it a little bit better, fixing the bad matchups, this team could still be improved and probably win 1 or 2 tournaments over the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am looking forward to see how you continue to develop this archetype and improve the team. But for those of you who want to try it out, of course, there is a rental code on screen right now. There is a paste in the description, and there will also be a link to Marcus's Twitter and YouTube channels down in the description if you want to reach out to him directly to get a little more insight onto the team. But again, thank you so much for coming on. It was really great having you. This is, again, a really cool team. Like, it really innovated the TornOgre archetype, and this was really insightful to hear exactly how you used it.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be on the channel, and I hope to be here once again in the future. Maybe even with another Series 10 team. Who will knows? And yeah, I didn't like Series 10 in the beginning, but after this tournament, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I'm looking forward to you coming back on the channel at some point, either Series 10 or in the future. But yeah, so thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, I will see you all later.
See you. Bye.